more minute. So get a nice comfortable seat. Today, I think we're going to be doing some back, some joint work, especially wrists, ankles, knees, hips. Find that nice comfortable seat for yourself. So welcome everybody. My name's Karen and this is yoga. Today's class will be focusing on the joints. We're going to focus on the wrists, on the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. So we're going to be exploring and experiencing some specific stretches to support those joints. So let's begin with a nice comfortable seat on the floor. You can have a blanket, a towel up underneath your hips if you'd like, or a block. You can have your legs extended out in front of you, or you can actually pull the soles of the feet into a butterfly. Just a nice comfortable seat that you can hold for a few minutes. We're going to inhale those arms out to the side, up over our head, allowing them to then float down nice and easy, thumbs right in front of our heart space. Let's take a breath or two here. Allow those eyes to shut and gently bring your hands back down to your knees, either palms up or palms down. And with your eyes closed, just begin to inhale with a long exhalation. We're going to begin to deepen our breath with that exhalation. So inhaling and a long exhalation. Each time you exhale, can you deepen your breath just a little bit more? With every breath, can you feel your spine elongate, energy coming out of the crown of the head? And begin to visualize a silver thread that runs along the front of your spine, down through your pelvis, and up through the spine, through the floor of the mouth, right up through the crown of the head. A silver thread. Still inhaling with a nice deep exhalation. Be mindful of all the sounds you hear in your own space. Don't fight those sounds, just let them into your mind's eye and then just let them float right out. And I invite you to set your intention for your practice today, a conscious decision. It can be something very specific or something general. But let's also send a dedication of healing out into the universe, to someone, someplace, something, or even yourself. Take another breath or two and then gently flutter open your eyes, bringing your attention back into our space. And we're going to stretch those hands out in front, palms down. Let the shoulders release and then slide the shoulders back, letting the hands float back down. I'm going to turn to the side. So we're going to inhale, exhale, slide those shoulders forward and then back and let the hands float back down. Let's do that again. And then back and one more time. So we let them slide forward. We retract those shoulders back, and we let the arms float back down. This time we're going to interlace the fingers, extend them out, and curve the back, letting those ears come between the elbows if you can, and then lifting up, flipping the hand, pressing up. And flip them back around, come back into this C curve, stretch out with the hands, chin comes to your chest, a nice round C curve, and then flip the palms, stretching through the palms of the hands, just lifting up. And we're going to do this one more time. Nice C curve. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling, and flipping it, lifting it up, and now letting it just come back down, these arms, rotating the wrists one direction and then the other direction. One arm is going to stretch up. Let's bring the hand to the outside of the opposite ear. Bring the hand up and just gently pull that elbow back slightly behind the ear and release it. And the opposite hand's going to come up, bend at the elbow, place the hand over by the ear, and then just gently bring the tip of the elbow back. A breath or two, and then release it. This time, one arm is going to stretch up, and let's just slide our hands, spreading those fingers, and press down through the knuckles, lengthening the elbow right by the ear. You can look down, stretching the neck a little bit. You can look up, you can look neutral, and come on back. And let's do the other side. Lengthen up. Walk those fingers out, spread those fingers, press down through the joints, through the knuckles. And again, you can look down, you can look up, and you can look neutral, and bring yourself back up. Let's switch the legs, extend them long, bring the other ankle in, or just lengthen and then bring them back in. We're going to take a twist. So we're going to inhale, lengthening our spine. As we exhale, twist to the right. And this time, instead of palm down towards the hand, flip the palm so the back of the hand is pressing against the knee. So the contact point is the back of the hand, the wrist, knee into hand, hand into wrist. And we're just breathing. Inhaling, lengthen, exhale, twist. And slowly unwind. And we're going to go the other way. So inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. And again, flip so that the back of the hand is now pressing into the side of the knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist a little more. And gently unwind. Let's extend those legs out in front. Just give them some movement. I'm just wiggling them back and forth. And now bring them into a butterfly. So with our soles of the feet together, our hands on our shins or our ankles, we're going to lengthen the spine and just hinge forward from the hip, walking our hands forward. So it's in this place we're going to try and extend the top of our head, and we're going to look ahead of ourselves about a foot. And you feel a little gentle tug, perhaps the lower back, perhaps the insides of the hips. And gently walk yourself back. Bring those knees together, extend the legs forward. And let's just walk our hands now on either side of our feet I'll turn to the side. Hands on either side of those lower legs. We're going to lengthen up and then just walk our hands forward right into that edge of resistance. No farther for this first one, but try and pull the toes back. And you get a lot of energy, a lot of action onto the backs of the legs. Inhaling and exhaling. Walk your hands back. We're going to take the sole of the foot and just tuck it high up into the inside of that inner thigh. We're going to reach for the toes either with both hands or hands on either side of the lower leg. Whatever works for you for these first couple stretches as we begin to warm up the body. And gently come back. I'm just going to turn forward again. Again, slide the opposite foot high into the inner thigh now. Walk your hands on either side of the lower leg. And gently stretch the back of the leg, the hamstring. And slowly walk yourself back and extend both legs. All right, we're going to circle the ankles now. I'm doing them with my hands because I'm not sure if you can see my ankles, and then the other way. And now we're going to lift one foot up, okay? Place that ankle over the knee and gently just move the foot, pointing and flexing, getting some movement at that ankle joint. And with the ankle over the knee, if you can, reach for the long extended leg. And so in this stretch, you not only feel it in the lower back, you feel it in the hip as well. So keep breathing, keep extending. There we go. I want you to be able to see it. And then slowly walk yourself back. Extend both legs forward. Hands are going to come right behind the hips. Press down through the wrists, spreading those fingers, pressing through the knuckles, and stretch through the heels, pulling the toes back towards your body. And release. And let's take the other foot up. Just point and flex. Let it rotate around. And then cross it over the knee. And we're going to lengthen our spine up first and then over. There we go. So you want to feel the stretch in the hip of the bent knee, hamstring of that opposite leg, and perhaps lower back. So there's quite a lot happening with this stretch. And gently come on back up. I'm going to turn towards you again, and legs can extend out or they can tuck in, but we're going to drop our chin now. Let it just float up, drop chin. We never want to forget our cervical vertebrae when we're going to be focusing on the back. So keep the head down now. Interlace those fingers nice and tight. Place them on the very back of the skull on the occiput. And as you exhale, press head into hands. The heart will lift. Those elbows will open broad. And then just release the elbows forward and let those arms float back down. Let's drop the chin again. A few times. Chin drops. Let it float back up. This time, interlace the fingers, one finger different. Let the hands come behind the head. Exhale, pressing head into the hands, letting those elbows widen. Squeeze between the shoulder blades. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And release it, letting the hands come back down. All right, we're going to bring our legs around. We're going to come to tabletop. And if you'd like, put a towel, a blanket underneath your knees if you feel like your knees need a little extra cushioning. So with this tabletop, spread those fingers wide. Again, shift your shoulders over the wrists, press through the joints. And we're just going to take some breaths here, lengthening the tailbone away from the spine, lengthening the top of the head. Just breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Let's spiral those triceps forward. Now, inhale, we're going to look up, our tail's going to look up, and as we exhale, take it into cat, a high upper body C curve. Now we're going to stay in cat, and we're just going to stretch through the hips, and perhaps stretching side body a little bit, all from this starting posture of cat or Bitlasana. Take those hips from side to side. And then inhale, let's come into cow. Feel the belly begin to stretch. The front of the spine. Take a few breaths here. And back into cat. High upper body C curve. But we're going to stay here for a few breaths, pressing through the wrists. Inhale, reverse it, look up, the tail looks up. And now I want you to shift through those hips again, but from cow. So we're taking our hips from side to side. We're moving through perhaps the side of the body. Do some exploration here. From here, we're just going to drop down onto our forearms, spreading those wrists. Take those shoulders over those elbows. And from here, let's extend one leg to the back, curl the toes underneath. So we're going to take a few breaths here. And as we shift forward and back, pressing through the ball of the foot, feel how the bones of those forearms drop down into the mat, supporting and stabilizing you. How you can roll through the foot, letting the body come forward and back, perhaps even side to side. And then bring the knee back underneath the hip. And let's extend the opposite leg long. So we're down on our forearms. We're pressing through the knuckles of our fingers, shifting our body weight forward and back, side to side, exploring for ourselves, finding where the little tight areas might be. And then bring the knee back underneath your hips. Come on back up. All right. We've got our shoulders over our wrists once more. Curl the toes underneath. Exhale into a high upper body C curve once more. And inhale, reverse the curve, look up, your tail looks up. And come back to a neutral spine. And let's push back into our child's pose. Big toes together, knees as wide as the mat. Shift your weight, your hips back towards your heels. You can extend your arms forward. You can stack one fist on top of the other, taking the stretch or the tension out of the shoulders, creating more space there. And just try and breathe those hips back towards your heels. We're going to be very gentle with our bodies today, taking our time in these different postures. The word asana just means posture. It's the physical part of the 8 limbs of yoga. All right, placing your hands back down. Come on back up. I'm going to turn forward for this next one. So what I want you to do is bring one leg forward, but walk the foot out to the outer edge, maybe a few inches. So this way, as we shift our body weight forward and back, you get more of a stretch in that hip joint. So you want to come forward and back. I'll turn to the side again. So I've brought my leg forward, but I've walked it a few inches outward. So I'm just shifting my body weight forward and perhaps even moving through the hip a little bit, shifting my my pelvis one way and then the other way, coming back. Now this can be a very tight area, so be very mindful about how you move through these tight areas. And then come on back into a child's pose. Letting the hips shift back. Now stretch the fingers forward, press down through the pads of the hand, and feel how the shoulders can stretch just a little bit more. And as you stretch those shoulders, think about sliding the very tips of the shoulder blades down towards the hips. And then slowly come on up. And let's bring the other leg through. Now take that foot towards the outer edge of the mat. And as you shift your body weight forward, we're in this nice forward lunge. Shift the hips east-west a little bit. Try and roll those hips so you feel a little bit more stretch, perhaps in the inside or the outside of the hip. If you can lift up on that back foot and do this. Or you can place the knee down. And then we'll all meet back in a child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart. Shift those hips back. Again, you can stack hand on hand, forehead on hand. And perhaps you can allow your attention to shift to the very tops of the feet and the ankle joint, stretching out the ankles just a little bit by stretching the tops of the feet. And now we're going to extend our bodies long on the mat. We call this a prone shavasana. We're going to place one hand on top of the other, forehead on your hands, bend your knees, and just windshield wiper them from side to side. You can also take those ankles around, relieving a little bit of the stress on the lower back. We're going to get ready to start doing some downward facing dogs and planks. So let's make sure those toes are curled underneath, hands right by the shoulders. We're going to press ourselves back. And from here, turn those toes under, lift the hips, but bend the knees. So we're going to start by just extending one heel and then the other, or moving through the hips again. You can drop one knee towards the mat and then the other. Think about the pad of the hands pressing down and forward as the navel pulls in and lengthens towards the tailbone. Just work through this for yourself, just getting movement through the hips, the tail. And then we can inhale, exhale, navel pulls in, we're in our high plank. You can always drop to one knee, drop to the other knee, slowly lower. And your choice here, you can inhale, exhale into a baby cobra. You can inhale, exhale, pushing up into up dog. Curl the toes underneath, come on right back up. Let's activate some more core here. Bend the knees. Lengthen the tailbone. Let's do that a few times. Lengthen the tailbone. And let's come on out into high plank. Make sure shoulders are over wrists. And we're just going to hold this. So either hold high plank or low plank. Drop to your knees and then slowly lower. Again, your choice, how you come up, opening up the front of the body, either baby cobra, cobra, up dog. And let's push back now into just a child's pose. We're going to be coming up again, but we're going to take our hands wider this time. So place your hands on the outside edge of the mat and turn the fingertips slightly off the mat. Okay, curl the toes underneath. Inhale, exhale. And you feel the weight of your palm more along the line of the thumb. Press back. And now try and press through the joints or the knuckles. This releases the shoulders a little bit. Gives them more space. Let's breathe through this a few more breaths. Take 2, 3 more breaths. And from here, we're just going to walk our feet in, walk our hands back, bend the knees, and just gently hang over. Again, just stretching out that low back. You can dangle to one side, dangle to the other. If you'd like, bring your palms to your elbows. And we're going to drop our hands, slide them to our shins for halfway up. As we press into our shins, extend, elongating that spine. Take a breath or two here. And then forward fold all the way over. And again, your knees can be bent for these forward folds. And inhale, exhale, halfway up. And forward fold over. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. This time we're gently going to draw the hands up the front of the body. Chin and head are the very last things up. Press through that tripod of the foot till we come up into our mountain. And we're up. All right, let's do some more shoulder work. So grab elbow to elbow, kind of the I Dream a Genie. Now, look down, look at your toes, make sure they're forward along the edge of the long edge of the mat. Come up, make sure you feel that tripod, the point between the big toe and second toe, pinky toe and second toe, and dead center of the heel. Let the arms come up, and we're going to press into the elbow with the hands into the elbow, and slide the scapula down. So as we're here, slide the scapula down as you press. We're doing a little bit of strengthening here. You might feel your toes come up and then place them back down. Take another breath here. And as you exhale, lift those elbows right behind your ears. I'm turning once more just to show you. And now inhale, exhale, come through the front, over to the side and up. And inhale, exhale, back the other way. And again, working the shoulder girdle here, not just the joint. Grab those elbows. And then just lengthen those hands up and just slowly let them come back down. So we're going to cross wrists palm to palm now. Now don't interlace your fingers, because if you have arthritis, that really affects the joints. So just press together. Lengthen down first. Press, press, press. And then exhale those arms straight up, elbows by the ears. Keep pressing. We're just straight up. We're pressing the inside or the palms together. And then release it and just rotate. Got that nice strong mountain. So we find our mountain. We cross wrist over wrist, palm to palm. First thing we want to do is line the bones of each finger up with the matching fingers. Inhale and exhale, press, press, press. And gently release it and roll. All right. So I'm going to turn to the back just for a second. We're going to come up, thumbs up, all right? We're going to take our thumbs slightly backwards and create little circles. Little circles. Thumbs are back. Now bring those thumbs forward and down and take those circles forward. Thumbs are going to come back. A little bit bigger, a little bit slower. This might be challenging. If you've had any shoulder issues, this can be very challenging. And thumbs down, forward, and back. One last time, the biggest circle and the slowest circle. So all the way. Feel where your limitations are. Don't try and press through any pain. Just make it a shorter or a smaller circle. Come, thumbs down now, come forward. On this last one, we're going to bring our hands out to the side. And this is where I am going to turn back around. I want you to take the scapula, the shoulder blades, and bring them towards each other and release. So bring them towards each other and release. Scapula towards each other and release. You should feel a little bit of a burning now. And one more time. And then just dangle the arms. So let those arms dangle. Okay, I'm just moving from foot to foot, letting the arms dangle. and slowly come up. Got to get my hair back. All right, let's do a tree pose. So with tree, if you're working with osteoarthritis or osteoporosis, you want to make sure that the foot that's bent, the knee that's bent, is pressing against something. Don't have it dangling. So if you're pressing into the lower leg, for example, or the floor, you want to press into the opposite leg and press the opposite leg into the foot. I'm just going to keep it on the floor. Hands can come up in prayer position. If you've reached down and you've brought your foot all the way up, you want to make sure that it's a nice contact and you're pressing into each other, one side into the other side. And when you're ready, come on out of it and let's do the other side. We'll get a little balance here. So you want to make sure that you open up the hip, bring the foot either on the floor, pressing through the ball of the foot, lower leg. Woo, just fell right over today. Or you can hold on to the wall, bring the foot up and press the foot, toes down, opening up this knee, pressing against the opposite leg, leg against the foot, hands come together. And if you come out of it, try to come right back in. All right, come on back down to the floor. All right, so we're just going to roll into our backs, pull those knees up into our chest. Allow your hands to just come to the front of the legs. Allow your knees to just roll or yourself to just massage the lower end of the spine. And from here, you can just extend and bend the knees. Just getting some movement there at the joint. All right. So placing those heels close to the sits bones, up close to your tush. We're going to bring our arms alongside our body and just allow the knees to fold over to one side. And today we're just going to hold this. And as we breathe, pay attention to where you feel the stretch. Is it in the knee? Which knee? Is it in the thigh? Perhaps one or both thighs, the hips. And then exhale the legs back up through center and over the other way. And again, almost as if you're doing a scan through the bottom half of your body, through your back. See where you feel the stretch, what body part you might feel off the floor. Stay there for another few breaths. And then slowly bring those feet back. Now we're going to take the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Bring the arms out of the way, bring them to T. Okay? So we're going to take one knee, drop it straight down towards the middle of the mat. Again, just be mindful, feel what you feel. Don't try and rush this. At least 3-4 breaths. And then we're going to exhale the knee up and inhale the opposite knee straight down towards the mat. Bring the feet back closer together once they're up. Float the knees in again. Hands on the kneecaps or on the thighs, and just extend the legs up and bend them. Again, feeling the knees, seeing what's happening in the joints. You can go one after the other. And now bring those knees right over the hips. Heels are in line with the knees, almost like a little tabletop. And we're going to send the knees all the way over to the floor to one side. So here's that nice mid-back, lower back, mid-back twist. And if you turn your head towards the opposite hand, you get a little bit of a cervical twist as well, all the way through the spine. Take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, exhale yourself back through center and over the other way. Inhaling and exhaling. So you feel the twist. Are both shoulders on the mat, or is one shoulder up off the mat? Just pay attention. And gently bring the legs back. Now, if you have a block, we're going to bring a block or a towel or a pillow underneath the lower part of the spine, the sacrum, and then we're going to float the knees up. This is for legs on the wall. All right? And this is where I want you to really rotate those ankles, point and flex, perhaps in and out with the heels and the toes, getting movement in the hips. Having your legs up like this helps to move fluid towards the heart, working with the lymphatic system. And if you'd like, bring the soles of the feet together. Drop those heels straight down towards pubic bone. Hands can come on top of the shins. Just breathe here. You can always take half straddles or full straddles. Pay attention to what your body needs right now in this moment. And explore for yourself, seeing how you can find more areas that need to be stretched just a little bit. You can place one foot flat on the floor, lift the other leg up, and perhaps pull it towards you. Nice stretch on the opposite thigh or quadricep. And when you're ready, come on off the block. Allow yourself to come into what we call happy baby. All right, so you're going to thread your 2 fingers between the big toe and second toe, or hands on the balls of the feet, and gently rocking, massaging the end of the spine, pulling down as you press up, lengthening the tailbone on the mat, extending the legs. Just play with this. It's called happy baby. You can massage all the way up, actually alongside the spine, the 2 long muscle groups. And then bring the legs long on the mat. And I want you to get comfortable here. Take your neck from Perhaps looking over one shoulder to looking over the other shoulder, just taking your head from side to side, letting those shoulders roll up, back, and down. I'm going to sit up. So you're just looking over, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down as you lengthen the hands long on the side of the body. In our final Shavasana posture, heels traditionally are closer together, feet fall open. But if you'd like, tuck a pillow or a block under each knee. Allow the body to feel supported by the floor. Allow your body to feel the mat as it rises up to support the back body. And let those eyes shut. And let yourself focus in on that breath once more. This time, inhaling for X amount, exhaling the same. So if you inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling and exhaling. Even counts. Inhaling and exhaling. And I invite you to add a pause at the very top of your breath and at the very bottom of your breath. They call this the space between the breaths. So adding a moment of stillness, a pause at the very top, and a moment of stillness, pause at the very bottom. Inhaling and exhaling. Bring your attention now down to the bottoms of the soles of your feet. And I invite you to do a mental scan up through the back body